What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today's reaction video is going to be 5 deadly natural phenomena America has that Britain doesn't. Now, this is a Lost in the Pond video. We've been doing these videos, I think, every 3 days or something like that. And he's got a fantastic back catalogue, Lawrence has. If you want to go and check him out, please do. It's an awesome channel. If you want me to keep doing it like every 3 days or something like that, let me know in the comments, because he has fantastic content, so many videos, and I'm learning so much from him. And hopefully you guys are learning so much from watching the original videos and watching my reaction to get a little bit of a double-sided take on the British side, and then you yourself can input the double-sided American take in the comments. I'm really enjoying this. Hopefully you're as well. Now, obviously, one of them is very obvious, I believe. Hurricanes / tornadoes. I don't know if they're going to be classed as the same thing. Technically, they're not the same thing. But if I was doing this list, I would put them as the same. But that's going to be on the list. It's a deadly phenomenon. Like, it is around Britain every so often. I think somebody mentioned in Birmingham, I think it was 2005. There was one, or maybe it was 2015. I'm not sure off the top of my head. It was a while ago. It was mentioned. It was a tiny one. I don't think it properly touched down, and it was nowhere near the scale of what you guys have. You guys have multiple yearly Tornado Alley. It is awful to see, and potentially deadly, which is absolutely awful. We don't have that, luckily for me, and I hope you guys are all safe and it doesn't affect you. But the other 4, I'm not too sure about. Maybe the animals. Maybe the animals will be mentioned in there. Other than that, I can't really think of them off the top of my head. So let me know what you guys think the top 5 are going to be if you want in the comments. I will see it, so let me know. And yeah, let's get straight into it. Hit that like button. I'd really appreciate it. If you want to see more Lost in the Pond videos, the more you hit that like button, the more you'll see, because it knows like you guys want to see it. If you don't want to see it, I'll just watch these in my own time because I enjoy them anyway. But if you guys want to see me reacting to them, hit that like button and let me know. And hit that subscribe button if you're new around here. Why not? I'd really appreciate that. And let's check out the 5 deadly natural phenomena America has that Britain doesn't. Let's go.
And that's true. In fact, it's true for most countries that aren't called the United States of America, where 90% of all F5 tornadoes ever recorded took place.
Awful, man. So scary.
Hello, I'm Lawrence, and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond, and one of those memos pertains to deadly natural phenomena. Last week, a tornado...
I said phenomenas. Phenomena? Is it not plural? Let me know in the comments. You guys have probably already roasted me already. I thought it was plural. Maybe not.
ripped through Nashville, and it got me thinking about how America is very extreme when it comes to some of these natural phenomena in a way that Britain isn't. And for anybody who's looking to move to the United States, it's good to keep these things in mind. Just keep in mind they are rare, right? So it's not like a Roland Emmerich movie every day in this country, but it is pretty staggering how Mother Nature can be quite a bit more overbearing in the United States. Yeah. And if you think this video is just going to be Lawrence moaning about the snow again, you would be incorrect, because over half of the entries on this list are not even weather-related. Well, actually, one might be with a technicality. And so without...
Okay, so one of them definitely is going to be animals. It's got to be deadly spiders or something like that. But tornadoes has got to be the weather one, maybe the hurricane. Other than that, I'm not sure.
Without further ado, let's take a look at 5 deadly natural phenomena that America has that Britain doesn't.
7
yes, earthquakes, and there is a reason that I specified magnitude 7, because Britain has never had one.
Oh, wow.
In fact, the worst it's ever had was a 6.1 magnitude earthquake, and that didn't kill anybody.
Well, thank God it didn't kill anyone. I'm not going to lie, I'm awful with earthquakes. I'm guessing 6.1 is quite big, and 7 plus must be insane. And again, that is so scary. I didn't really know the US had many, but maybe they do. We'll find out more.
In Britain, that's sort of par for the course. Deaths as a result of an earthquake are incredibly rare. The only earthquake I remember living through in Britain was one that emanated from the Lincolnshire town of Market Raisin. And as I recall, the extent of the damage that day was a fallen patio set. But magnitude 7 earthquakes, or above, are not just these sort of fictional events that are reserved for films like the imaginatively titled Earthquake. These have actually happened in American history. In fact, one happened just last year in California. Oh, wow. I remember all of these famous people on social media posting pictures and videos of their swimming pools swaying from side to side and the dogs looking confused. And it's not really surprising that this happened in California, because California is sort of the capital of America's most deadly earthquakes.
Oh, wow.
Indeed, the nation's most deadly earthquake occurred in 1906 in San Francisco, when a frankly astonishing 3,000 people perished amid a 7.9 magnitude earthquake.
What? That is absolutely horrible to hear. Again, something I didn't really know. Um, Damn, and I didn't know California was kind of like the earthquake place. If you could say, kind of like the tornado alley of earthquakes. I guess that's the way it's been described to me. Oh, that is absolutely awful, man. Again, it can do a lot of damage, and I suppose the idea is it does a lot of damage to buildings collapsing, and that's where people mainly get injured. Please educate me in the comments if that isn't the main thing. Maybe people potentially falling over, hitting their head. Chimneys, I've heard stories in foreign countries of chimneys falling on somebody from the earthquake and stuff like that, which is so scary, man. But 3,000 people is ridiculous, and it shouldn't happen. And it is so sad that it did, man.
Now, since
Wow.
that deadly earthquake in San Francisco, California has, of course, endured some terrible earthquakes in the century that has passed. It's also waiting, of course, for the so-called big one, which, you know, some people think is inevitable. Either way, once you get past all of these quakes and shakes, I am assured that California truly is the golden state. That is once you've also got past these.
They do wildfires.
We saw it in
man.
Australia at the beginning of this year, the bushfires that engulfed that country. We see them, of course, every single year in the United States. Specifically, from a news standpoint, you tend to see them in California. But I've seen at least smoke from wildfires in Utah and Idaho,
wow.
so it's not just a California issue. That just happens to be where some of the deadlier wildfires occur in the US, but not the deadliest of all time. That very unwanted record goes not to California or Utah or Idaho, but to Wisconsin. That's right, the Peshtigo fire of 1871 killed upward of 1,500 people, and there's a weird reason that you might not have heard of it.
Well, that sounds absolutely awful, and I don't want to belittle it at all, but Wisconsin, isn't that meant to be cold? Like, it's near Canada, north of America. I thought it was meant to be quite cold, no? Please correct me in the comments. I would never have expected there. That would be one of the last places I would have picked. California makes sense when you think about it. You've got the deserty areas, very hot summers. It makes sense, and it's awful to hear. Obviously, I learned a lot more about that from the Australian bushfires, which was all over the news worldwide earlier last year, which is incredibly sad at the end of the day. I didn't really know it was that prominent in the US, to be honest with you. Again, people probably screaming like, how did you not know that? But again, I guess in the UK, you kind of sheltered away until you do these reaction videos. And again, I hope all you guys are safe, and that is quite horrible to hear. You can't catch a break, really, with these deadly natural phenomena. It's awful, man. Absolutely awful.
It may have burned through 1.2 million acres and been the deadliest wildfire in US history.
Wow.
But due to a stunning coincidence, it was largely buried in the newspapers of the day, where it was overshadowed by another fire that broke out that day, a fire that history will remember as the Great Chicago Fire.
Okay.
And the Great Chicago Fire also overshadowed the Great Michigan Fire. It's like how John F. Kennedy's death overshadowed that of C.S. Lewis and Aldous Huxley. What are the chances? Well, for decades, some theorized that all of the fires were caused by the very same thing, that being debris falling to Earth from a missing comet. But in recent times, scientists have ruined that theory by pointing out that actually, to the touch, comet debris is actually cold and would probably extinguish the fire, so it was aliens. Meanwhile, people very rarely die in wildfires in Britain, if at all, though wildfires do indeed exist there. The same cannot be said of our next entry.
Ah, man, that's scary. We did what would happen if Yellowstone exploded. If you haven't seen that video, go and check it out. I was mind blown. It basically could ruin the entire world. Luckily, it seems like we're a long way off that, and hopefully it never does again. Go and check out our reaction if you haven't seen it, but I imagine that's the active volcanoes we're going to talk about. That is so scary, man.
Get into the kind of phenomena that I've not seen with my own eyes, unless you include 1997's Volcano or 1997's Dante's Peak. What are the chances that two very similar disaster movies would come out in the same year? Let's ask 1998's Armageddon and 1998's Deep Impact. But the truth of the matter is, volcano eruptions in the United States are not just works of fiction. You may recall recently that there was a volcano eruption in Hawaii, and don't get me started on Mount St. Helens. Actually do, because that represents the deadliest eruption in US history. In 1980, Mount St. Helens erupted, killing 57 people. And over the course of the next decade, it would see more and more eruptions. And this isn't surprising, because if you look at a map of the west coast of the United States, or just the west coast of the Americas in general, look at all those active volcanoes.
Wow.
That's where they sit. I blame Pangea for breaking up, because it's enough to put me off moving to the Pacific coast. And if one of those blows, not even Pierce Brosnan can help me. Now, having looked at a map of all of the active volcanoes in the United States, here are all of the active volcanoes in Britain. That's right, there are...
Mate, that is mental. Again, I know I shouldn't really be surprised at this point. So many things have scared me in the US. So many things have amazed me in the US. So many things have been shocking. So many things have been amazing shocking, if that makes sense. But again, I did not realise there were that many active volcanoes. I honestly thought maybe one or two. Mate, call me an idiot for that if you want, but wow, that's, again, so scary, man. Huge respect for you guys putting up with it. Me? I'd be waiting every day for that thing to blow, and I'd be petrified. I'm not lying to you guys, I would.
precisely no active volcanoes in the entirety of Britain.
Yep. 55 million years ago.
So Britain is thankfully unlikely to match the death toll at Mount St Helens.
Scary,
unfortunately, our next entry far surpasses it. So
Okay,
to use
hurricanes.
language that you're more likely to hear in this, my adoptive country, Category 5 hurricanes are like totally the worst. Literally true, the deadliest natural disaster in American history was the Great Storm of 1900.
Oh my
Striking
God,
Galveston, Texas, it is believed to have killed between 6,000 and 12,000 Americans. But this was a Category 4 storm. The deadliest Category 5 storm was the Okeechobee Storm of 1928, which killed 2,500 Americans and 1,600 others elsewhere. In recent times, you probably remember Hurricane Katrina, which was also a Category 5 storm, and of course led to thousands of fatalities in New Orleans and some of the surrounding areas and states as well. And if you're watching this from Britain, you might be thinking, what? We don't have hurricanes in Britain, and deadly ones at that. Well, the truth is people have died as a result of hurricanes in Britain, just not Category 5 hurricanes. And that's...
Okay, when I said we don't, I meant on the scale of the US. I hopefully will never have to witness anything like that, and hopefully you guys don't. And if you've been affected by it, I hope you guys are okay now. Again, so scary, deadly, awful, and hopefully none of us experience ever again. Maybe it'll just disappear. I know it won't, but fingers crossed, guys. You can always hope for the best.
That's because in Britain there has never been a Category 5 hurricane on record. And that includes the most famous storm in living memory, that would be the Great Storm of 1987, which nonetheless did kill 18 people and 15 million trees. And all this after the weatherman Michael Fish reported that there wasn't going to be a hurricane, so we weren't prepared.
That's a bad take. It's a very bad take.
Thankfully, it happened at night, so most people were asleep in their soft beds. Same can't be said for the trees, which ironically did provide material for some of the bed frames. No, in Britain, hurricanes are sort of rare. We usually get what they refer to as the tail end of the hurricane. And speaking of tails...
Oh, man. Okay, he's done them separately, which I think is a little bit cheating, but he's gone Category 5 hurricane and then an F5 tornado, which I'm guessing we've never had in Britain. Again, like I said, I can't remember a tornado. I've never actually seen one in Britain before, but apparently there has been some. Obviously not an F5.
Unless you include 1996's Twister, I've never seen a tornado with my own eyes, but if I did, I'd absolutely myself.
Same.
At this point in my life, perhaps it's just luck that I haven't seen one, because to say that we don't have them in Britain would be a complete lie. Tornadoes are actually quite numerous in the British Isles, but there's a big difference between the tornadoes that we get in Britain and the tornadoes that we get in the United States of America. Firstly, the UK has not recorded a tornado-related fatality since 1931, and before the 20th century, you'd have to go back to 1558 and then 1091.
Wow.
Historically, around only 12 people have been killed by tornadoes in Britain. And that's because British tornadoes just aren't very powerful. The one that ripped through London in 1091 is believed not only to be the oldest known tornado in British history, but possibly the strongest. They theorised that it might have been a Category 4 tornado, suggesting that anything above that, aka an F5 tornado, has never made landfall in Britain. And that's true. In fact, it's true for most countries that aren't called the United States of America, where 90% of all F5 tornadoes ever recorded took place.
That's scary,
now, 37% of those took place in either Oklahoma, Kansas, or Texas. You would expect that they're in the Great Plains. But surprisingly, the Great Plains did not play host to the deadliest tornado in US history. That would go to the tri-state area of Indiana, Illinois, and Missouri. That 1925 twister killed 58 times the UK's all-time total.
That is, again, it is just so scary. It really is, isn't it? You're talking there 600 and what? 600 and something? I don't know off the top of my head. But it's 600 and something people dead. That is absolutely awful. It really is. It might even be 700 and something. Again, in a very deadly. It's not even in the tornado alley zone, which is meant to be the scariest thing. Again, my heart's out to you guys who've been affected. I can't say enough. And hopefully you guys are always prepared. That's what I want. You guys are always be prepared and to be safe.
You're sitting at home and doing the maths on that. Stop right now, because I'm just going to tell you the death toll was 698.
That weren't bad. For the 5 seconds I had, I gave it a good shot. I went 600, maybe even 700, and it was 698. There we go. I'm quite proud of myself there. I am a little bit. Hit my like button because that was quite good.
It's by far the biggest, but as we are reminded by that tornado that ripped through Nashville last week, itself an incident that beats the UK's all-time record, we are reminded once again of the destructive power of American tornadoes, and my thoughts go to the people recovering from that incident. In the meantime, for anybody that's looking to move to the United States, I hope this video hasn't put you off. For the most part, you won't see any of this, unless you live in California. I'm joking, you'll be fine. I just wanted to make you aware of these things and to remind my American viewers that Mother Nature just seems to have it in for you. As for me, doing this video has reminded me that I can live with the odd blizzard and that I do miss British weather. That's it for this episode. Thank you for tuning in.
Go and check Lawrence's channel out if you've never checked it out before. The link will be in the description, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Again, not the nicest of subjects, but we've learned something new. And like I said, I hope you guys are all okay and deal with this weather perfectly. The British weather, I can't complain. I really can't, and I never will anymore after I've seen these videos. Hit that like button. I'd seriously appreciate it. Hit that subscribe button, you absolute legends. And I will see you in the next one. Peace.